Hello there. I only have 30 minutes left of footage, so I might as well say it, and I might as well say it as quick as I can. Is the European Union a country? Could people argue this? Now, I don't remember how the European Union works exactly. I think there's 6 chambers. Maybe that's the United Nations. I know in the United Nations there's 6 forms of government. I'm not 100% certain there's 6 different levels of government. Like there's the Security Council, and there's different chambers of government that do military, and then there's one that does aid, and then there's one that does. I know there's the actual United Nations where they vote. 33 of them vote, and 135 of them are recognized. Like I know that about the United Nations. European Union, I'm not 100% certain on how it works. But I do know they use the Eurozone. I do know they're part of the Schengen area, so they don't have border control on most of those countries. Um, their trade agreements are their trade agreements are very important to them. And so, the European Union, if it is a country, it's not a particularly unified one. Because they speak French, they speak Spanish, they speak German. They don't speak European. There's no such thing as European. I'm sure you can make a language called European, but no one will want to speak that. Who in their right mind want to speak it? Maybe the combat English coming into the continent of Europe. Because now even French people are learning English to some extent that the governments had to mandate the fact that French is the only official language, and are trying to get people to learn French and not English. So a lot of people coming into France who are not from West Africa, because West Africans speak French, who are coming from other English-speaking countries, especially like Nigeria and like Syria. I know speaks Arabic, but they probably don't speak that much French, right? Some of those places don't speak French that well at all. And so, maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know. I mean, probably the particularly educated ones probably do. But the people coming in, some of them are desperate, and they don't care to learn the language quickly in order to get in. They will get in regardless of what language they speak. And so, in my opinion, there's such thing as a European language. It's like there's no such thing as even there's really no such thing as an Arabic language or an African language. There's no such thing as that, right? Europe's a continent, but they have a union called the European Union. And the European Union doesn't encompass Russia, which I think Russia's a historical part of Europe, in my personal opinion. But while they've always been rivals with the European Union, they are definitely not Europe. Culturally, they are a little different. At least government-wise, they have more conservative values, and their government's very authoritarian in some regard. You're not allowed to legally protest vote against Putin, Vladimir Putin. But whatever, right? European Union, you can. In fact, in some countries, I think they mandate the fact you have to vote. Still sucks. I think you should have the freedom to vote. Now, the issue is when you don't vote, well, now someone else took your vote, and they can do whatever they want with that power. You still vote, you still pay taxes, but if you don't vote, guess what? Doesn't matter. You don't vote, you'd be like, what is wrong with these people, I voted, and I got in trouble for voting in the wrong place, so that's fine. Right? So, they make voting such a difficult task in the United States. It needs to be a little bit easier. In my opinion, voting doesn't have any impact whatsoever. It's more what you buy. Do you buy Coca-Cola? Okay, you're supporting Coca-Cola. Your dollars, what you choose to spend with your dollars is way more important than how you vote, because it's actually more of a determining part of the economy is your dollars. However, if your dollars get diluted by the government, then yes, it is important what you vote for. The problem is the people we vote for appoint the chairman of the Fed. The Senate and the president appoint the chairman of the Fed. So the senators and the president are very important. I think what we should have done is, I actually think the House of Representatives should be in charge of that instead of the Senate. But whatever, it's fine. It's maybe it would give the House of Representatives too much power. I don't really know. The Senate has a lot of power compared to the House of Representatives in some regard, because they deal a lot with the executive branch. They're kind of merged in with the executive branch a little bit. Fascinating, but like Europe, I don't know how it works exactly. I know that Germany's a federal republic, and then France is very unitary. They have territories, but I don't know if the territories vote for president. I'm assuming French Polynesia doesn't vote for president, but I'm not 100% certain. on that. I think French Polynesia is the only one that doesn't vote for president. Maybe all of France votes for president. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm going to have to look that up. But I know that I think Belgium is a federation. Netherlands is a federation, I believe, or maybe unitary state. I could be wrong on that. It might be a unitary state, but it's got other countries inside of it, the kingdom anyway. The Kingdom of Netherlands and Netherlands are two separate things. And then you got Switzerland, it's not part of the United European Union, but they're considered a confederation, but they're pretty unified, I would argue, even though they speak multiple languages. But yeah, I would say, is the European Union a country? This is the main thing, right? They use the euro. They have a common immigration policy for the most part. Each country decides on who becomes a citizen and who doesn't. But you can internally change, like, you're a European citizen to one country, you can easily change to another. But you sometimes, include with Austria anyway, you have to drop your European citizenship for one of your countries to the other. If you want to be Austrian, they make it very, very difficult for you to become a two-passport holder with a citizen of Austria. So, like, some places, like in Europe, will do that. They'll make it very hard for you to get a second passport. I don't know why that is, but that's the way it is. Germany, I think, same thing. So, in that regard, it's not like residency in a state. Although residency in states, you only get one. In Europe, you can have two residencies, sort of. So Europe's a little bit more flexible, but that's because each country makes their own laws. And Europe's healthcare system is, in some regards, better than the United States. It's cheaper to administer. Definitely cheaper. No argument there. However, we do subsidize it. The American taxpayers do subsidize, I'd say American investors subsidize European medicine. I have not seen an article that says Europe produces over 50% of the medicine they consume. Nope. I've seen the opposite. Americans investors spend money to subsidize European medicine. It happens all the time. When I hear socialists say, Europe's supplying their healthcare all by themselves, they're only using their own taxpayers. That's not true at all. They're using American medicine to do it. They're using trade to do it. Voluntary trade. Right? It's not forceful trade, hopefully. If it's forceful, then I'm against it. It doesn't matter if it produces enough wealth. It's just sort of, my viewpoint is, you can't just take someone's property just because you think you can allocate it better. And you have no cost of being right because you just forcefully took that person's property. Basically, I don't know. But anyway, the European Union is hopefully a voluntary union of states. But there's something you hate about the European Union. Like, if you're part of the European Union, and the European Union does something you don't like, right? And you're part of a country that, I don't know, let's just say culturally agrees more with you than the European Union, then I would argue that you have a better shot of maybe voicing your opinion against the European Union. You have to leave the European Union. So it's not a country. It's more of a confederation, I would argue. It's a confederation of countries. Just kind of like how Switzerland is. Switzerland's more united. So, in my opinion, is the European Union a country? No, not at all. You got Portugal all the way to Estonia, to Finland, and Greece. Cyprus, I believe, is also part of the European Union. They use the euro. Cyprus. So no, they're and obviously Andorra and Monaco and San Marino and Vatican City, they're not part of the European Union, but they use the euro. Just because you're part of the European Union doesn't mean that you don't use the euro. So, that regard, anyway, you are someone, I am someone else. Europe's not a country. I don't know where people have gotten this idea that they are. They don't normally have uniform laws, especially when it comes to residency in some of their countries. But it's easy. Some countries it's easy to get citizenship to them. Some of them it's not, based on just being a European Union citizen. I don't know. But anyway, you are someone, I am someone else. Talking about, is Europe a country? It's not. The European Union is not a country. Goodbye.